Tonight, my dear kittens, curl close and listen well, for this is no ordinary bedtime tale. This is the story of Mino, the bravest mouse the forest has ever known. And by the time I'm done, you'll understand that true courage doesn't depend on strength or size, but on a clever heart and an unshakable will. Hi, welcome to Zenazum Cartoons, your ultimate channel for your cartoon stories. Please subscribe to this channel and hit on notifications for more interesting cartoon stories. In the heart of the whispering woods, under the canopy of dancing leaves and glimmering stars, there lived a tiny mouse named Mino. Now, Mino was no larger than a chestnut, with fur the color of twilight and eyes bright with curiosity. Most of the animals in the forest hardly noticed him as he scurried from one corner of the woodland to another, gathering seeds and nuts. But what Mino lacked in size, he made up for with a mind sharper than a thorn and a heart that beat with quiet bravery. One misty morning, a strange scent drifted into the forest, musky, foreign, and cold. It was the scent of foxes. Not one, not two, but 5 lean and hungry foxes had entered the woods from the edge of the mountain, their eyes glowing red with hunger. They came with stealth, their paws leaving no trace, but their growls were low and restless. News of their arrival spread like wind through the trees. Birds flapped in panic, rabbits disappeared into burrows, and even the proud badger family sealed their tunnels. But Mino did not hide. From his little burrow beneath the old oak, he listened carefully to the rustling leaves and distant snarls. He knew the foxes would leave only after they had caught something. And with the bigger animals in hiding, it wouldn't be long before they turned their hunger on creatures like him. Still, he wasn't afraid. He had lived in these woods all his life and knew every root, rock, and shadow. That night, he gathered the forest's smallest residents, squirrels, voles, hedgehogs, and fellow mice. "We can't outrun them," he said, his voice steady, "but we can outthink them." The others looked uncertain, but Mino's confidence lit a spark in them. He proposed a plan that sounded impossible. "All we need," he said with a grin, "are some leaves, vines, and a few well-placed mushrooms." The foxes were swift, but not as clever as they believed. The following evening, just as they crept into the glade, a sweet aroma lured them, a scent of something tasty and rare. Mushrooms cooked in wild honey, a favorite of forest creatures. Curious and greedy, the foxes followed their noses. But the path was a trap. As the foxes moved through the thickets, they triggered thin vine lines tied across the trees. Logs rolled from hidden corners, startling them. Leaves gave way beneath their paws, revealing sticky sap puddles that clung to their fur. The lead fox, larger than the rest, growled in fury, but too late. He stepped into a hollow carved by the animals, his paw caught in a snare of vines that looped tight. He yelped as he fell, and the rest of the foxes scattered in confusion, only to be herded by frightened but determined forest critters who hurled acorns and kicked up dust clouds. By dawn, the foxes were exhausted, humiliated, and tangled in vines and sap. With howls of defeat, they limped back toward the mountains, never to return. The forest cheered. Mino, the smallest among them, had driven out the greatest threat the woods had seen in years. Squirrels danced from branch to branch, hedgehogs tapped their tiny feet in rhythm, and even the owls hooted in pride. But Mino didn't boast or brag. He simply cleaned his whiskers, smiled, and said, "We are all brave when we stand together." That day, the elders of the forest gathered. They carved Mino's name into the oldest tree, the Tree of Tales, where only the bravest heroes were honored. For generations to come, animals would point to that carving and say, "That was the mouse who outsmarted 5 foxes and taught us that courage doesn't roar, it whispers." So, my dear kittens, remember this: courage doesn't always wear claws or sharp teeth. Sometimes, it walks on tiny paws and carries a brilliant mind. Mino was never the biggest, but he was the boldest. And in this forest, boldness can save us all. Mama Cat licked her paw and curled her tail around her sleepy kittens. Their eyes were wide with wonder, tiny hearts full of dreams. Outside, the moon smiled down upon the forest where legends like Mino still lived, in rustling leaves, in brave whispers, and in stories passed down from one generation to the next. If you find this story interesting, please kindly support my channel. Subscribe and hit on notifications for more interesting stories.